Hey, you fun people out there, I'm so excited that you're back this week, Right now, I got some of the Hope kids with me. Say hi, guys.
Hi!
All right. It's a fun month, and we're learning how to live with grit.
Grit is refusing to give up when life gets hard.
Cliffhanger is the story isn't over yet. All right, you guys and girls, I feel like hearing some worship. And so you know what I always say? Let's get off those seats and onto your feet. And how about we worship to God, right? That was awesome. I saw you guys out there dancing. You know what? Sometimes it seems like life is throwing us curveballs, right? One after another. They're throwing us this way and they're throwing it that way, curveballs. Or it seems like there are boulders falling down on us and we try to scale, right? At least that's what it feels like when we're having trouble with our maybe a subject in school or practicing an instrument, or maybe when we're having a disagreement with a friend, right? But grit means that we keep on going, even when in those tough situations, because we know that God is there to help us. So I'm going to recap the last few weeks in case you guys weren't with us. First, we'll look at where we've been, right, in God's big story. So far, it all began with God's creation. He created everything in the world, including people. He included, he started with Adam and Eve, but you know what? They sinned and disobeyed God. So our relationship with God was broken. But as we all know, that is not the end of the story. God chose a man named Abraham and his wife Sarah, and he promised to bless the whole world through their family. So over the last couple of weeks, we looked at the story of Abraham and Sarah at their great-grandson Joseph. Now Joseph, he was sold by his brothers and brought to Egypt. All kinds of wild things happened to Joseph in his life, right? But in the end, he saved his family and all of Egypt. Joseph stored up food so that people would have enough to eat during a time of famine and when no food would grow. So eventually, after Joseph's whole family moved to Egypt, they grew and multiplied over many, many years. All the descendants of Jacob, Joseph's dad, were known as Israelites or the Hebrews. And there were so many Hebrews in Egypt that the Pharaoh, he grew scared of them. He worried that they were going to become too powerful and that they might turn against the Egyptians. And that's where we're going to pick up today's story. So the Egyptian Pharaoh, he was scared. There were so many Israelites, he thought they might join the Egyptian enemies. So Pharaoh forced the Israelites into slavery. That's the way it was for so many hundreds of years. But no matter how hard the Egyptians made the Israelites work, Hebrew family still continued to grow.
Paparsis, I dare that all Hebrew babies must be thrown into the Nile.
I know, this is terrible news, right? God had promised to bless the whole world through the Israelites. But not only were they enslaved now, they were in danger of being completely wiped out. And in the middle of all this, a woman from the tribe of Levi, Jochebed, and her husband, Abram, were about to have a brand new baby.
Where does this part go?
So insert part F at the right angles with part M before locking part B.
The pyramids have gotten nothing on me with the crib assembly.
So if Jochebed gave birth to a baby girl, they wouldn't need to worry about the Pharaoh's law. But when Jochebed had a baby girl, you guessed it,
it's a boy.
Pharaoh is not touching this baby.
So for 3 months, Jochebed and Abram and their daughter Miriam hid the baby from the Pharaoh.
What's that? That's a puppy, nothing to see here.
Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mommy's gonna buy you a mockingbird.
They tried, but after 3 months, there was just no way to keep hiding a baby boy, especially with a healthy set of lungs like he had. Jochebed wove a basket out of tall grass and coated it with tar.
Give him to me now. But still hear the baby in the basket. Come with me.
So Jochebed was so determined to save her baby that she made a risky and very creative move, might I add, right? That's pretty creative doing that.
Are we giving him a bath? No, we are giving him a chance. Now stay close and make sure he's safe.
So maybe Jochebed figured this was a place no one would come, or maybe she knew it was a favorite bathing spot of the Pharaoh's daughter. So Pharaoh's daughter came down to the river to bathe.
Give me the basket at once.
I mean, Miriam must have been terrified, right? But she stayed hidden and watched to see what might happen.
Poor thing, this must be one of the Hebrew babies.
Miriam gathered every ounce of courage that she had, and she ran up to the Pharaoh's daughter.
Would you like me to get one of the Hebrew women to take care of him for you? Yes, that's a perfect idea.
This was the best news. So Miriam ran home as fast as she could, right? And she told her mother everything that had happened. Then together they returned to the princess.
Take this baby and feed him for me. I'll pay you. I promise. I will treat him like my very own son.
And she got paid and was able to care for her son at home. And when he grew up, she took him to live at the palace with the Pharaoh's daughter. The princess called him Moses. And Moses is a word that meant to draw out because she pulled the baby out of the water. You get it? And that's the end of this week, so come back next week and see what the story is. Not only did Jochebed get to take care of her own baby, but she got paid by the princess to do it. Awesome, right? And Moses would be able to grow up in a safe place in the Pharaoh's palace. Now, if you think back to the beginning of the story, Jochebed was really in a tough situation. She loved her baby boy, and she didn't want anything bad to happen to him. She wanted to give him a chance to live, so she didn't give up. She did what she could to keep her baby safe. God protected Moses, and later Moses would play a very important part in the story of God's people. The story would remind us to hold on no matter what, and to never give up.
Hold on, even when you don't know what to do.
God had incredible plans for Moses' life, and God has a plan for your life too, right? So let's take a look at this month's memory verse.
Let us not become tired of doing good. At the right time, we will gather a crop if we don't give up. Galatians 6:9.
All right, remember, have your parent videotape you saying this verse and send it to me at terry@hopepd.org, and you'll be put into a drawing for a prize. Last month, Sam won this, and he got a 790-piece Lego set, right? And also, October 29th, we're having trunk or treat night with costume contests, candy, and we're having a maze. All right, kids, let's fold our hands and pray. God, it's amazing how you helped Moses' mom and gave Moses a chance to live. Jochebed didn't know what would happen to her baby, but she held on to her faith that you would help her, and you did. God, in an incredible way, help us to have faith as she did. Help us to have grit like she did. We know that you can do incredible things today, just like you did back then. We love you, we praise you, and we say all this in your son's precious name.
Amen.
Amen. All right, kids, come back next week. There's more to this story.